Former Czech Minister of the Interior, Jan Hamacek, was also subjected to a defamation campaign by active Ratzer's agents in the Seznam Zprávy media outlet, which eventually led to the opposition demanding his resignation. Even from these isolated examples, we see how skillfully one can manipulate public consciousness and even influence elections or government authorities in a country if one has the skill of anti-cult methods. Anti-cultists acquire this skill over many years of dehumanizing and persecuting people by branding them sectarians or cultists and staging genocide against them with other people's hands. Such political interventions represent coordinated actions carried out by the same people, members of the international anti-cult gang Ratzers. Just as they dehumanize people, they label as sectarians or cultists, depriving them of democracy and all human rights, so they act against the government, destabilizing a country's political situation. In other words, they suppress democracy from all sides. They apply methods of psychological influence on people's consciousness, manipulation, and dehumanization of victims, and we see the outcome of their activities. That's already a matter of national security, direct interference in elections, and influence on authorities in favor of covert interests of the international anti-cult criminal organization Ratzers, whose ideological center is the Duevo Brotherhood. Many pieces of evidence have already been presented, but more will be provided soon. RTVS, Denik N, SME, and Actuality, discreditation of Robert Fico. In addition to a long-running series of negative dehumanizing publications about Robert Fico by several media outlets using anti-cult rhetoric, Fico also became an obstacle to Ratzer's anti-cult agents in implementing their plans in Slovakia's information space. Among other things, this obstacle manifested itself when the decision to liquidate the anti-cultists' mouthpiece, RTVS Broadcasting Company, was being considered. Sometime later, an assassination attempt was made on Robert Fico. It is worth noting that when the attacker was shooting at Fico, the Prime Minister's office was proposing to strengthen control over RTVS. After the shooting, the detained suspect specifically mentioned his disagreement with the liquidation of RTVS. "I disagree with the government's policy." Is that why you decided to commit murder a month ago? After all, mass media have been liquidated. Why is RTVS under attack? Why was Mazak fired? During one of the first interrogations, the shooter stated that he disagreed with the government's policy, including reforms related to state media. "I disagree with the Fico government's policy." Fico himself noted the extent of the filth and implications in public consciousness after the rhetoric of hatred and anger, and that it is exactly anti-cult media such as Denik N, SME, and Actuality which spread this rhetoric of hatred. Is it a coincidence that these very news portals employ manipulation methods and narratives matching the goals and objectives of the Russian association Ratzers? In particular, dehumanization and labeling of undesirables as a sect or a cult.